All right, guys, this is KMKanDrum, and here's another Q&A with KMKanDrum. And today I have a really special guest. Him and I go way back, I believe maybe 2006, 2007. The drummer for, and we'll get into the things that he's into now. But when I first met him, he was drumming for a band called Ninja Academy, which blew my mind and everybody's mind away. That we were all playing together. We were all playing shows in Highland Park and around the LA area. I was with the Mormons at the time, and this band Ninja Academy with bass player Joey, and here we have Rob, the drummer, just a two piece. They would have other members come and go, but basically the core of the band was you two, and yeah, we're just amazing. I guess you would call it prog rock, right?
I don't know if I'd call it prog, although it did have some proggy elements. It had some mathy elements.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if I'd call it prog. I mean, like our kind of bigger influences were, Pixies and
But you guys didn't sound anything like the Pixies. I mean, if I were to try to think of a band that, especially in our like little clique, which doesn't mean a whole lot, but in the grand scheme of things, like if I were to say, okay, if I were to think of progressive rock, you guys are definitely, you're pushing the envelope on so
yeah,
many things.
yeah. I mean, I guess in that respect, I guess it's prog. But when I think of prog, I mean, when I hear prog, I think of like Rush or King Crimson and I wouldn't say we're like those bands. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Joey isn't even. I don't even know if he really likes prog music that much. You know what I mean? I mean, he's
Yeah.
like not against it or whatever, but that's not like an influence of his. Rush is one of my big influences, so of course that leaked into my playing and all that stuff. But as far as him, he comes from more of the, we're both like children of the 80s, so very pop oriented melodies, and like even though it was instrumental music, he played very melodically, and we had song structure, verse chorus kind of thing. uh, so I guess it was, mine and his separate influences, although we do like a lot of the same music, plus you know so I guess it just did melt from the pop oriented song structures, and then with a little bit of the pushing of the boundaries or whatever. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I
I
don't know if
mean,
I'd call it prog though. I don't know. That's
yeah. I mean, it was definitely something that stood out. Like the bands that we were all playing with, um, they kind of sort of sounded similar. I mean, besides 8-bit, which was more like hip hop,
yeah.
um, but all the rock bands that were playing together, they were definitely a lot more similar.
Uh-oh.
Definitely stood out just by,
You froze and you cut out. Sorry. There are a lot of bands we're playing with are similar, but what?
but except for you guys were complete, to me at least, very very different,
Mm.
doing things that most of the other bands weren't doing. Not to, like, just musically alone, like not to even get into the whole live thing. You guys dressed up as ninjas, and you had, I think at one point you had some taiko drums in there as
Yeah.
well. And I mean, it
Yeah.
was just like the whole shebang. But when you get back to the music thing, no one was doing odd time signatures. No one was doing instrumentals. So yeah, it was just, to me, maybe prog rock's not the, like, you don't fall under the public's
Yeah.
view of prog rock, but it's
Yeah.
definitely progressive.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with that because it definitely, in my mind, progressive. Like every time we came upon a new verse or chorus or whatever, I would try to progress it a little more, right? Try to do it a little bit different, and like add to it and just like build on it. So I guess in that respect, yeah, it was definitely like every time we came around, we took it up a notch, up a notch. Um, yeah, so I would agree with you in that respect.
So yeah, I mean, back in the day, like, as I was explaining, it was just a lot of rock, and rock was kind of sort of dying out. And here these guys come, and they just like blew me away, and I had to like introduce myself to you, not only because you're an amazing drummer, but we had like almost the exact same drum set, the cherry red DW, and so there's a lot of things like you're half Japanese, right? So I'm Japanese, and a lot of similarities going on. So I needed to know you. So we made that connection, and we were not super close, but whenever we would see each other, we were pretty cordial. But then you moved to New York,
Mm.
and maybe 2 or 3 years later, I moved to New York. And that's when we really started to hang out a lot and get to know each other really well.
Right.
Um, and yeah, like ever since then, we even after I started going to school for writing, we even like started this little thing where we would make little films and stuff. So
Those Yorkers.
yeah, that's right. So hopefully, I think that stuff's actually still on YouTube. I'm gonna try to like link it up to this video.
It's so bad.
Oh man, so yeah, so this is kind of like for all you guys watching, it's kind of like me and Rob catching up on what it's been like maybe 3 years where we've actually sat down and talked because
Yeah.
you moved back to LA, I
Yeah.
moved to Philly,
Yeah.
and that was around 3 years ago. So
Yeah.
before I get into all of these questions for the format of the interview, dude, what's been going on for the past 3 years, man?
Well, man, it's been kind of crazy. I mean, so we moved back from New York. And, I moved back with my girlfriend Nikki. We were both over there. We both moved back here together because she's from here also. And we were just kind of tired of New York. But we both moved back with no jobs, so we were kind of just like tired of it. But we really kind of didn't want to live there anymore. So we just had to move back. And, maybe it wasn't the smartest thing to not have jobs moving back, but I mean, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Like, we just had to leave. So it was kind of tough for a while. Like, we moved back with my mom for like a few months, and then we moved out with one of her friends and lived there for like 6 months for like very cheap rent. Still couldn't find a job in that time. Like, so 9 months passed, and then like had to move back to my mom's for like another few months. Or I don't remember the timeline exactly, but it's something like that. And then, so during this time, like, I was like trying to find a job, like, in New York, I worked in production, managing like photo and video equipment, but I didn't want to do that anymore over here because it was like, I found it was a dead end job, didn't go anywhere. I was always interested in video editing. So it's like, oh, I'll try to get into that. And then months of trying to send out resumes and interview, nothing was happening. It was just impossible to find a job. I mean, when we moved in with Nikki's friends, one of them was a costume designer in TV. So he knew people, and he put out the word to all his friends, very helpful, really tried to help me to like, get just sit down informational meetings or whatever, but nothing panned out. So it was really tough. And then I was looking through Craigslist. I found an ad for someone wanting an intern. So, I had some savings. I was slowly going through it, but I had some savings, so I didn't really need to worry about, I gotta get a job with money right now. So I took that gig, very small, like one dude had this company and he only had one employee, and I went and helped him out with stuff, not editing per se, a little bit of editing, but I don't know, just like menial whatever tasks, right? Not like coffee and shit like that, but it wasn't like editing. But turns out so I was with him for a few months working for free, interning, and then I was like, dude, I gotta get a job. I need to get money now because I was running out. And I was like, well, I guess I gotta get a job, fucking whatever, retail or some bullshit, I don't know, just something. And then turns out that he was an online editor at this place, and he's like, well, they're actually looking for assistant editors. I'll put your resume in. You know what I mean? I like you. You're a cool guy. You work hard. You show up. You're good. Like, you would be a good fit. So he got me the interview, and then I got the job. And then ever since then, I've pretty much been working steadily, and that's been like 2 years ago. So that guy, Nadav is his name. Thank you, Nadav. He like really, made my career go in a different direction. You know what I mean? Like, my whole kind of life, because otherwise I'd be like, I don't know what I'd be doing actually. But thankfully for him, like he hooked me up, and yeah. So I mean, I've been working as an assistant editor since. I mean, aside, so that's what I pretty much do with most of my time. It's like I'm working 50 hours a week, like that. I do that a lot, and then I also play music. Mainly with the Evangelicals.
Nice.
The Evangelicals.
Yep.
Mostly with them. Sometimes with Unpoppable. This other
Yeah.
with a D who plays the balloon bass, and Joey. And then little things here and there, but I don't play as much music as I used to. And then for a while I was like, I don't know, I haven't done it in a while, but I was editing just fun things, whatever, on my own at home. But I haven't done that in a while, just because I guess I don't know. It's just like anything I say is going to be an excuse or whatever, you know what I mean? But it's just like working, it's just like I get off work and I'm just fucking, I don't want to do anything because I'm gonna work on the computer all day long or whatever. But that's just an excuse if I don't know, whatever. But that's pretty much it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad it worked out because we're kind of in that area right now where we're thinking about, especially with having the baby and whatnot. And we've come back a couple of times now with her, and just seeing how she interacts with the family. It's like she really needs more of that. So
she, meaning Hannah?
Hannah, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, nobody gives a shit about us anymore. It's all about her.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, she definitely needs more of the family life, and so we're putting out the feelers. We're trying to see like if there's a way we can make it back there, because
oh really? Oh, cool.
Yeah. She needs to be around family, like, and I think that supersedes anything that, we love being out here. It's Philly's super fucking cheap.
Yeah.
We have some friends that also have kids that are like within a month apart of Hannah, so it makes it a lot easier. But being around family is like, it's like a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And it's like when you weigh the pros and cons, family is just like way up here and everything else is like down here.
Yeah.
So
it's funny because like we moved back here because Nikki, I mean both of us, but Nikki really wanted to be with her family. She was going through some health kind of issues, and she really wanted to be close to her mom and dad and her brother and stuff. So then we moved back within like, I don't know, however many months, whatever. But her mom moved to Las Vegas, and then her brother moved to Arizona.
Oh wow!
So it's like we moved back, and then everybody fucking bailed.
Jesus,
sucks. I know. She's like, what the fuck? But still, the quality of life here we feel is better than it was in New York. You know what I mean? So I mean, it was worth the move back, even though she's not close to her family.
Yeah.
But yeah, family is important, definitely, for sure.
So what, if you don't mind me asking, what were you like? What do you? Because I always have this mentality that the grass is never greener. If you're in one place and you want to be in another place, it's usually doesn't pan out the way you want it to. But in your sense, it seems like it kind of did. So I want to know, like, what was kicking you, or what did you not like about New York that you went back to LA and now everything's fine, and LA is like, you're like, is it just a sense of home, or what was it?
I mean, it's that a big, well, New York is a tough city to live in, as you know. It's like it's just like fucking nonstop barrage of just noise. I mean, where we lived in Harlem, right off of 8th Avenue and shit. So it was just like fucking noise, 24/7, trucks, noise, just never quiet. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's just one aspect. But I think personally for me, the biggest aspect was the sense of community over in New York. Didn't really feel like I had one. I had some group of friends, you and I eventually started playing in a band for a while, Brightest Color. we were, we were friends, but and then my other group of friends. But the thing is, like, they all lived in Brooklyn and we lived in Harlem, so I think that was a reason why we didn't see each other a lot. And like nobody really reached out to me to hang out. I was always reaching out to people, and that just gets fucking tiring after a while. It's like, what the fuck, why am I always like the one to reach out? I don't, I don't want to sound like I was whiny or anything. I wasn't. I was just like, whatever, that's what it is. But inside it's like, what the fuck, you know what I mean? So that was like a big reason. It was just like it was hard to get a community, even though I had friends. Like, we just never really hung out, and it's like just kind of lonely or whatever,
Yeah.
That was a big one, and work was just kind of, I was comfortable, but it was like, I don't know, dead end. And Nikki's job, like for many years, it was like very lucrative. I mean, she just was a server at a restaurant, but she loved her coworkers and she made good money, like really good money. But that started going downhill. They started hiring new crew, and they were just not as, I don't know, it just changed the dynamic. So she was like over her job, and she had like the health things, so she wanted to be closer to her family. So it's like all those things, and for her too, it was like she didn't have a sense of community either. So all those things is kind of like, well, dude, we have friends at home, you know what I mean? Like our families and back in LA, like music, you know what I mean? I don't know. I wasn't really coming back to play music or whatever, but actually, I to be honest, like when I thought about it, I was kind of apprehensive to come back and play music, because like I knew that I sucked because I didn't play really anymore in New York. You know what I mean? When I moved to New York, I didn't even play drums for like 9 months. I didn't pick up any sticks. I was so over it. And then I eventually joined that band and I played with them. That was the only thing that I did musically, or except for I joined a choir and I did that for a while, but that's not like playing drums. But so because I wasn't playing drums at all, and I know everybody here was like constantly playing music the whole time, that their level was like way surpassing mine, you know what I mean? And I was like, fuck, I don't want to go back and just suck, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and I figured, I'll come back and people will want to, oh, come on, let's play. And I was like, but I eventually did, and I'm glad I did, because now I've been kind of playing regularly with these bands or whatever. But I was nervous at first, like just coming back and fucking sucking, which I did.
Yeah.
I feel like I did. Everybody else, oh yeah, you're fine. But I'm always really the hardest on myself, as we probably all are.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, I do like agree with your. I don't know if the grass is always greener on the other side. It could have came back and it could have totally sucked. Like we couldn't have found shitty jobs, had to live with our parents, whatever. But sometimes you just got to roll the dice and then just fucking see what happens.
Yeah.
You can't let that deter you from trying something or, doing something.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm in the same boat, like with a lot of the things, the little projects that I'm doing. This fucking YouTube thing, right? It was a way for me to get back into drums. Like we bought this big ass fucking house and has a basement, so might as well make a studio. And yeah, man, it was just like, okay, so I got this fucking studio, now what? Like there's nobody out here to play with. Like the scene sucks.
Really?
So I was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna just record myself playing a drum cover and maybe put it up on YouTube. And now it's like I'm in this community of drummers, and they're all amazing guys. We all support each other. We all like watch each other's videos and make comments and all this crap. And it's just like a really cool community to be a part of. And I was like, well, shit, maybe I might as well I was doing that for 2 years, and I didn't really get any subscribers. I still don't have hardly any subscribers, but I had a friend who I met in New York who started his own YouTube. Totally separate thing. It was like a coin collecting. But he started actually like gaining a lot of traction, a lot of steam, and now he's it's pretty successful and he's making money off of it. And I was like,
wow.
Oh shit, man, maybe I should try to like actually take this thing a little bit more serious, and just to see like what happens, because I'm doing it as a hobby anyway. It's super fun. I get to like learn new stuff like your wheelhouse, video editing and shit, and it's like you can geek out on it so hard. So yeah, I've been starting to to do this whole YouTube thing, and ever since I started to like really focus on it and pay attention, which was about 2 or 3 months ago, I could tell like even though the subscribers has only gone up a little bit, but the watch time has gone up a lot. There's a lot more activity going on the channel, so it's paid off.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, I could have stayed where I was and just did covers and just that's it, and not taking it seriously, not like posting on social media and all that shit, and just been like, okay, well, that's probably all that's gonna happen. But now that I've taken this chance and I see like that there's like results, even though it's only been a couple of months. If I wouldn't have put that mentality in it and be like, okay, well, if you really want to make money off of YouTube, you got to start. You got to start, and you got to have a concerted effort to build your channel, which is the step that I'm going in now, is just trying to actually build it rather than just like putting shit up once in a while and then just kind of like letting it, organically grow. Now I'm actually making a concerted effort to grow it.
And by building it, well, I mean, you have to post regularly, basically, right?
You got to post regularly, and the thing that I'm doing, and hopefully, it kind of, I guess my angle is like I'm not quite sure how the whole monetizing thing works, and I don't think you can really totally know until like you qualify, because you have to have like 1,000 subscribers, and you have to have like so many hours watched over the past year or something. I'm like at 200 something subscribers, so I'm not even close yet. But as far as I'm concerned, like or as far as I know, like what I think is, if you just do drum covers, it's really hard to monetize because you're using other people's songs, and it's only like 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes at the most. So you gotta get creative with your content. First of all, it's got to be good for people to watch it. Second of all, it's got to be at a certain amount of like certain length. Like most of the time, people go to YouTube to like figure out how to fix their plumbing or some shit, and it's like a 2-minute video or whatever. But now I think even more, the audience is growing where people come to YouTube for entertainment. So a lot of podcasts, people watch podcasts on YouTube. People watch YouTube series and shows and whatever. And what I've been finding is a lot of drummers have been doing not just covers, but lessons, and interviews. And, me, I'm like in the whole game thing. I like to like try to make games too. So, I'll play a drum intro, and you got to guess the drum intro. And then you got to come back and watch for the answer. So it's like these things where you try to like create and like come back to your channel constantly. So it's not just covers and someone like, the chance of you building your channel solely off covers, and it's been done. There's people with 40, 50,000 subscribers just off covers, and even more. Like there's like a couple of like hot chicks I think that do drum covers that have like millions of subscribers. So
I think I've seen them.
Yeah. So it's like it can be done, but it's you're kind of doing it off of other people's art, and like a cover band, right? It's not your original shit.
It's weird to me, that cover thing. I don't know. People are into it though, I guess. People watch it. Shit.
Yeah.
Maybe because like they're hot girls or something. Not to diminish, they're badass. But
yeah.
I don't know, like I don't get the cover, like watching people play. It's like, dude, kids like watch other people play video games.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, what the hell? Just play the video game. Why are you watching other people play video games?
Dude, I was at we went and bought a laptop for Colleen yesterday, and we were at the Microsoft store, and they were having a League of Legends tournament, and like the place was like not packed, but it was pretty crowded, and it was like a bunch of people watching like 5 or 6 people play video games. It was crazy. One of the workers said that I don't know if you're familiar with Fortnite.
Oh, yeah, vaguely, kind of.
So it's this like online game where like all these people play, and you It's kind of like a battle royale where you like
Yeah,
kill
yeah.
each other off, and if you're the last man standing. So the guy that won the Fortnite tournament started at that Microsoft store. He's this 15-year-old kid. I think he won like $3 or $4 million or something,
Damn.
and he started at that store.
What do you mean he started at like as
He
a?
started playing Fortnite at that Microsoft
Oh,
store, and
oh,
they taught him how to play at that store, and then he turned into the champion.
shit, dude. That's crazy. I mean, winning a contest, okay, at least he's playing it. He's not sitting there watching someone playing it. And then these
Yeah,
people who are like broadcasting their game, Ninja or whoever, like they're fucking millionaires from
yeah,
people watching them play video games.
yeah.
I don't
I
know.
think PewDiePie started as a
Yeah,
gamer. Crazy.
I don't get it, dude. We sound like old men, I guess, but
Yeah.
it's ridiculous to me. Like, what the hell? It boggles my mind. So,
Well, like that's how the Beatles got started, right? They were a cover band at
yeah,
first. They played a
yeah,
lot of covers, and then they started. So that's kind of like how I'm trying to do it. Like
yeah.
my foot in the door is the covers, and then I try to create my own content with these interviews, and I'm starting to do like product reviews and all of that shit too. So
Right. I mean, I get that, but watching it, you know what I mean? Watching someone just, I mean, don't get me wrong. I watch people do covers and shit too. Sometimes it's fun, but that's not like exclusively what I watch. And like, I know a lot of kids, like they go on Twitch or whatever and just watch people play video games. That's kind of all they do. Like they're not even interested in playing their own video games. They just want to watch it.
yeah,
I don't know. That's interesting. It's really interesting to me. Curious to see how the kids these days are going to grow up. To me.
I know, man. I mean, I'm invested in it.
Yeah,
I've got one.
Just got to make sure she doesn't go that route, man.
Yeah, I think being exposed to like Colleen and I are creatives, right? So she sees the creative process, and hopefully that like gets instilled into her to be able to be creative. Like if you're creative, you don't want to do other people's shit. You want to do your own shit.
Yeah.
So we'll
Yeah.
see.
Right. Really interesting.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that's what's been going on. I've been doing the YouTube thing, been doing the gaming thing. Philly, it's okay. It's cool. It's cheap.
You
Food's
haven't
okay.
played in any bands out there then?
No, I
No.
mean, I haven't really like gone out and looked,
Yeah.
but everywhere that we've gone where there's live music, it's either jazz, hip hop, or metal. And it's like, dude, I just want to play in a good rock band, and they don't exist anymore, man. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it's true. I was like the other day. So I played with Unpoppable at Cafe Nella. I don't know. Yeah, that place is closing down, I guess.
Oh,
Um, and like it was the Mormons' 21st year anniversary we played for. Uh, they were headlining 21 years. It was cool because I hadn't seen them since before I moved to New York, and like it reminded me like how fucking bitchin' they are. They
yeah.
killed. They killed. They were so good. It sounded so good. They were tight. It was great. But I was talking to the owner there, who's had to sell his place or whatever, and I was like, "Do people even go out and see live music anymore? You know what I mean? Like at your place or whatever?" And he was like, "Man, it's not really. Like the biggest crowds he gets are for like metal bands from like I don't know Cerritos or like those like Vernon or whatever areas like." Metal bands, not really rock band. Like a lot of rock bands people don't really go see. You know what I mean? It's like hip hop or metal, which
Yeah.
is really interesting. But I guess I guess that's just that's just, I don't know how it is now. It's kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I would imagine like if you lived in Nashville, it would either be hip hop or country
Yeah.
or maybe even metal there too. But yeah, rock is just like nobody really cares anymore.
Yeah, it's kind of depressing. I mean, that's like my favorite kind of music. You know what I mean? Like, and for people not to, I don't know. I mean, maybe on a local level, it's like gotten where nobody cares anymore. But are probably on a big scale level too. But like last week, I went to the Daydream Festival and like the Cure, with the Cure and the
Oh
Pixies and
yeah.
all that. That was like fucking a lot of people there. There's a lot of people. You know what I mean? And then I saw Massive Attack on Tuesday, and it was packed. It was sold out. But maybe those are the bands that are on that next level. So it's like they already have this built-in fan base from fucking 20, 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But now, if you're a band trying to start out, trying to make it, and you're playing rock, good luck.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
If you were good, I would support it, but also there's not that many good bands out there. You know what I mean? Like whenever that's why I don't really like to go see a lot of live music if I don't know who it is, because it just a lot of times it sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just too picky. I don't know, but I'd rather just not be there. I'd rather not waste my time and money.
Yeah, and a lot of the rock bands that I do see that are out, they're kind of like I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but they're kind of like watered down. They're real almost like background music, like they don't grab your attention like the
Yeah.
good rock bands did beforehand.
Yeah, it's like too
So
safe or something.
safe, yeah, that's a good word. Yeah.
Yeah. Rock should be a little, I don't know, dangerous and sexy and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that's just like keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of it's not like that. And then maybe because it's a trip, man. Like, not that I talk to a lot of kids, but I know people who have kids or, teachers or whatever. And just, it's just for every time I hear like these kids growing up, like they don't know who the fucking Beatles are. They don't know who fucking, like I heard the other day, I think I read it on social media, like somebody was like, oh, how dare this person fuck up Nirvana's Man Who Sold the World with his cover. And they were talking about Bowie's song. Like, you know what I mean? It's
Oh, what about the other thing where like I think it was pretty popular where there's like all these kids who uh somebody asked who Steven Tyler was, and they were like, "Oh, the guy from American Idol."
Yeah, man, it's like they don't know their history. So it's like maybe that's what has something to do with why the music isn't that great, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. I don't know why, but that definitely can't be a good thing.
Yeah.
You should know your musical history if you want to be a musician and play rock or play any kind of music, I mean, obviously hip hop is the most popular thing now. Which that's great, whatever, but sucks that just rock is like kind of dying out and taking, maybe I'm sure hopefully one day it'll come back around. I don't know. Things tend to go in cycles.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, just like fashion, right? Everyone looks like they're from the 70s or 80s right now. So
yeah. Yeah.
what was that? I was gonna say something. God damn it! I hate when that happens. Hopefully it'll come back to me. Anyways, so I want to get started on these questions because I know there's a lot of drummers that are watching, and you and I are drummers, and you're an amazing drummer. In fact, I want to actually plug. I'm going to put a link to. Oh shit! I don't even know if I'm able to put it online, but I do have video of you playing drums and me singing Limelight.
Oh, really? Wait, that gig at what was that place?
The Bitter End.
Yeah. Oh shit. Was it good?
Yeah. You were good.
No, you sounded great, dude. You do a really good Geddy Lee.
It was okay. Like I surprised myself because I didn't think I was going to do it, so I had low expectations.
Yeah.
So my low expectations were I did a little bit better than I thought I was going to do. So
yeah.
If I look at it from there, like okay, I did fine.
Yeah.
But when I actually watch it objectively, I'm like, not so good.
I probably feel the same about my drumming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So if YouTube lets me, I'm gonna put it up, and then I don't know how they split the screen, but in one of the corners, I'm gonna have a card so that you can click and watch that video. It's Rob playing drums, me singing, our cover band in New York, the Butt Connectors.
Butt Connectors. Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I want to start these drum-related questions. So if you're ready, we're gonna get going.
Do it. Uh-oh.
So the first one I always like to keep the same. Can you hear me good?
Yeah, it every now and then it stops and it freezes and I can't hear you and then it catches back up.
Okay, so I'll try to stay as still as possible. Okay, so this relationship with the drums, it's kind of like a love-hate thing. It always ends in love, but once in a while you just I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort. I want to know how long you've been in this relationship.
Shit. Well, I started playing drums in fourth grade, snare drum. So how old are you when you're in fourth grade? Like 10 or something?
6,
I think you're
7, 8. I think around 8 or 9. I think.
okay. So right now I'm 46. So pretty much that long, on and off. So oh fuck, I don't know, 30 plus years, right? I guess.
Yeah.
Not like all the way consistently. There's times where I stopped playing and then started again or whatever. But pretty much in fourth grade I started playing just snare drum. And then I didn't start playing kit until high school.
Oh
Um,
wow, that's a long time.
yeah, because I didn't have access to one. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, until I started high school, and then like a friend of a friend, I think it was her uncle was the drummer from who sang Inagata Davida, fucking
Uh,
uh, uh,
uh,
uh, Iron Butterfly, or no, what is it? Yeah,
no, not Iron Butterfly.
well,
Uh,
fuck.
I'll put a link to it.
You know, but anyways, I think it was her uncle was a drummer. I think it was, and
Oh, cool.
so she had a kit in her like little shed in the back. So like I
Mm.
started, like I got to sit down for the first time, and like I was able to play shit. You know what I mean? Like the first time I sat down, I
Yeah.
was kind of able to get it. Um, so that's when I like kind of took me to the next level of falling in love with that instrument. And then I, played it. Yeah, I guess pretty much mostly consistently since high school. I played kit. I played my first band, and yeah. Um, I'm pretty sure I played pretty consistently throughout high school, then PCC, and then I majored in music at UCLA, and then I guess not until I moved to New York. That's when I stopped playing for like 9 months because I was just fed up with that shit.
Yeah.
That's the love hate part of it, right? Like I fucking hated it because it was just like I was tired of being broke. I was tired of like not getting anywhere. I mean, no, I can't say that I didn't get anywhere because I did get to tour internationally and shit. But that was kind of a bittersweet experience, which is a whole other story. But so I mean, I guess to answer your question, 30, 5 years or something ish.
Yeah. Wow.
Which is crazy because I feel like I should be a lot better at my age for playing for 35 years. I should be like really good, but I don't feel like I'm like really good.
Dude, I have this crazy story. So when I was really getting into playing, I was probably about like 16, 17 years old, and I was like reading all the modern drummers. I was getting as many videos as I possibly could and whatever. And I got a hold of the Chad Smith, I guess, what was it?
Instruction.
Whatever. Yeah, the instruction videos that I can't even remember who put them out, but it was the Chad Smith one, and I watched it. And he had some great things that I learned a lot of stuff from. But the one thing that he said was that he had been playing for like 25 years, and I remember thinking, wow, that's a long fucking time, and you're good, but you're not that good. So now looking back, I've probably played for about 25 years, and compared to Chad Smith, I fucking suck.
uh,
So
Everybody goes at their own pace, I guess.
yeah,
You
for
know, I
sure.
mean, it would have helped if I like practiced more and stuff.
Yeah, totally, for sure. Like I have a friend who he made it a mission to get better at double bass. So
Mm.
his whole thing is he's doing 100 days of practice, just double bass, just practicing his feet.
Oh,
And this was like maybe a couple of months ago I talked to him about it, and I was like, it never fucking occurred to me to like take that sort of dedication and focus on one thing to get
yeah.
better at the drums. Something that I fucking love. Probably like 60% of my life is dedicated to the drums,
Uh-huh.
but I never actually like went, oh shit, well my left hand sucks. So I might as well should try to fucking work on it and like do like this focus isolated practice on my left hand, and it just never occurred to me.
Right. It seems so obvious, right?
Yeah.
But it's not though because you don't want to, because it's hard to focus on shit that's weak. So you don't want to do that. You want to do something that makes you sound good and you feel comfortable doing.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, yeah, it takes real dedication to work on the weak parts.
Yeah.
Which I, haven't really done either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and it's, I don't know. Yeah, it's just I've never really also I'm pretty much self-taught. I never had a teacher really until I studied music in university, but that was like classical percussion, so it wasn't drum set. But I was pretty much on the kit, self-taught. So it's like, how do you even know what to study or what to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And back in the day when we were growing up, we didn't have fucking YouTube. We didn't have any of that shit. We had to like rewind a cassette or put the record back and like try to learn it all by ear. There was there was instructional VHS videos, but nowadays you can just like anything you want to learn, you just look it up on YouTube and you can see right there exactly how to do it. Yeah. We didn't have that kind of luxury. So, that's why I'm sure that's why part of it now, the kids these days, when you watch them on YouTube, fucking 3-year-old kids are fucking jamming.
Yeah.
Because, they're just, I mean, yeah, they have a natural innate ability and talent from their genes or whatever, but also you can just see anything online. So your process of learning is like increased 100 times.
Yeah, man. Like, I mean, they pick up languages like nothing.
Yeah.
Drums is not much different.
It's a language, yeah. So, I mean, we had that to deal with. And, just like, I don't know. I've never liked practicing. I like playing with people, you know? I like to jam. I like to just, like, have a conversation with music or whatever. I don't like to just, like, okay, let me just, practice fucking paradiddles or whatever. I mean, I did it, but not as much as I should have because it's boring to me. You know what I mean? I don't know. So that was... I guess that's part of the reason why I'm, at the level that I'm at.
Yeah, man. I mean, I can recall a story. You remember Fruki, Frank Lewis?
Yeah.
So
I see him around sometimes.
Really? Yeah. Tell him I said hi. When
he goes by Princess Frank now, by the way.
Yeah, Princess Frank. Yeah.
Right.
So him and I lived in the same apartment building when I first started playing drums. I got my first drum set, and I set it up, and I didn't even have cymbals. I just had drums, and I'd be playing. And he came up. He lived downstairs below me. He came up. He introduced himself to me, and he's like, "Yo, it's so cool. You're starting to play drums." And he actually let me borrow his hi-hat and a ride and a crash. So I started playing. With cymbals and whatnot, and for a month passed, and then he comes up, he knocks on my door, and he's like, "Sounding great, everything's sounding awesome, man. It's going good, but the only thing is, and he's like, he was so nice back then, like he's an awesome guy. Whenever you do a fill and you hit the crash, make sure to hit the bass drum at the same time." And that was like something, because I was pretty much self-taught. I had my uncle and everything, but he was like gone all the time on tour and whatnot. So at the very beginning stages, there are just certain things that you just don't pick up, like something like that, where you every time you hit the crash, you should hit the bass drum.
Yeah.
And that was one thing that I just remember, that if you're self-taught, and you don't have like a teacher, those are the types of things that people need to or you have to pick up on and have like that innate sense.
Yeah, how would you know otherwise? I mean,
yeah.
So yeah, that's cool that he taught you or showed you, kind of gave you pointers or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, he was him and this other dude Chris were like the main guys at Eagle Rock, and me and 2 or 3 other guys. They were in the senior jazz band. We were in the junior jazz band, and they kind of like put us under their wing, and we learned a ton of shit from those 2 dudes.
That's cool. Yeah. See, I didn't really. Well, in high school, I played in marching band only for 2 years. I think it was freshman and junior year or something like that, or maybe it was sophomore, senior year. But I didn't play in any of the ensembles or anything like that. So like. And, in our marching band back then, it wasn't until after I graduated where they got a drum coach. when I was there, we had no drum coach. So,
Of
so our
course.
parts were simple as fuck. You know what I mean? Like just singles or maybe paradiddles if we were lucky. No flam taps, no, Swiss triplets or anything crazy like that. Like, so I was like, after it was the year after I left, they got a fucking drum coach. I was like, what the fuck? But so, again, like I didn't really, I learned, but not as much as I potentially could have because, there was just no one to teach us.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It is what it is, I guess. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You
I mean,
know?
we just live in the wrong time.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
what I would have done for YouTube back then, man.
Shit.
I mean,
But okay, I'll agree. Yes, but at the same time, maybe it would have turned out the same because I would have been lazy or whatever. You know what I mean? Maybe I don't know. Who knows? I can't say like, oh, just because I would have had YouTube, I would have been way better. Because maybe I wouldn't have because I don't like to practice anyways. I don't know.
also, I mean, YouTube exposes a lot of drummers that normally wouldn't have been exposed.
Yeah.
So when you see all these fucking badass people popping out of nowhere, like
Yeah.
I probably would have been like, oh shit, I suck. I should do something else.
It's true. Yeah, there are a lot of amazing drummers out there. I've come across so many badass like drummers on YouTube who are
Yeah,
like,
man.
blow me away.
Yeah, there's one dude from I think he's from New Zealand or Australia, Dylan Elise. I think he was just like a YouTube drummer, and then he ended up getting a gig with shit. Now I forgot who it was, but like a pretty big act. And I think it's just because he was on YouTube.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I think Luke Holland is also one who like was a YouTube guy and then he got gigs from that.
Huh.
Like, I'm sure there are a number of people like that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like YouTube is a legit, or social media is a legit way to get notoriety now. I mean, there's like, was it last night or two? I think it was yesterday. Nikki and I went downtown. We were just like kind of just walking around during the daytime. And we passed, like there's like two women who passed by. And then as they passed, Nikki was like, oh shit, that chick's YouTube famous. Like, and it's like, it's just crazy to me that like, you could be like, oh, YouTube fame, like a famous from YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nuts.
It's a trip.
I watched this dude who's a financial guy on YouTube, and I mean he does other stuff too, but he like his whole thing is being transparent and telling you how much he makes on YouTube, and it's like an insane amount. Like I think everything combined, he makes like $100 and something thousand a month.
Jesus.
And a lot of that is real estate and YouTube.
Wow.
So yeah, he's pretty much YouTube famous, and he's I think he's based in LA too, so you might see him walking around.
There's probably so many people who are YouTube famous that I don't know about.
I know, man, it's crazy. Yeah, dude. So I wanna ask you this question because it's one that all the other drummers I think have a hard time with, but also like have the most fun with. So I want you to be Dr. Frankenstein, and instead of give me your favorite drummer of all time, which is almost impossible to answer, like one person, I would much rather you pick your favorite hands, your favorite feet, your favorite drummer mind, and your favorite drummer heart and soul, and make this monster drummer. Who would you do?
Ay. There's so many options, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe for like hands, that's tough. I mean, like my initial thing to go for hands would be like Tony Williams, but
Yes.
but like, what's his name? Like Eric. I follow him on Instagram, and he's Eric.
Eric Moore.
Yes, he's next level. Like him and Tony Royster, like
Yeah.
they're fucking next level with their shit. Just like I don't see how you could fit any more notes into a bar of music and do it cleanly and like,
Yeah.
So like, part of me wants to choose one of them because their hands are like crazy, but Tony Williams is Tony Williams.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, if my uncle wasn't in the equation, I think Tony Williams would probably be my favorite drummer.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, okay, I guess I'll stick with Tony Williams for the hands. For the feet, like I don't know. That's like one thing that I haven't over even my own personal years of playing haven't concentrated enough on.
Mm.
I feel my foot is weak, you know. Well, among other things, but my my right foot is not as strong as I would like it to be. So that's like you
Oh,
know,
and that's another thing. You're left-handed, right?
yeah. But
And
I play right-handed.
you play right-handed.
Yeah, yeah.
So does that also go to your are you left-footed?
No, I play kick drum with my right foot.
But like in everyday life, like I don't even know if that like you can say you're right or left-footed.
If I were to, I would feel more comfortable kicking a ball with my left foot.
Okay, got it.
I guess, right? Although
So
I
have
haven't
you
kicked a ball in a long time. But
have you
I,
ever tried playing bass drum with your left foot?
well, no, not yes. I mean, I've tried it, but I can't do it in my car when I'm driving. I play bass drum with my left foot because I gotta keep the pedal, you know, on my right foot. So I don't know if that counts, but I've never. I don't know if I really try. I mean, I've sat down behind a kit, but it's like I can't do doubles and shit with my left foot.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So my point being that I've never really, I guess, as much paid attention to that. So I mean, like player who's good at feet, like I, I don't know, fucking Dennis Chambers. I don't know. Like
Man, that's a good one.
that's a tough one. I mean, it would maybe be some metal dude, you know, that I don't know about. Danny Carey. I don't know.
Have you ever seen Thomas Lang?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
dude's
he's
feet are insane.
dude. Yeah, I mean, he like switches pedals to different like things, and I mean,
Yeah.
or El Negro, Horatio, what's his
Oh,
name?
Horatio. Damn it.
It, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But he's badass too. With it, he does the same thing, playing clave and shit with like left foot, and then switching
Yeah.
back and forth. You
Dude, did
know,
you ever see Akira Jimbo?
I've seen him. Yeah,
He's crazy with his feet too.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you know, there's I don't know. Um the feet. That's a hard one, dude. I guess I'll go with I guess I'll stick with fucking Dennis Chambers. I don't know how to really how to answer that one. Um, the soul, I would maybe. There are a few like I'm supposed to only pick one though, aren't I? I mean John Bonham, you know, his overall his feel is just like nice. But then I like a current drummer. I really like. There's two that are like my favorites right now. I'd say is like Nate Smith and
Yeah.
and Carter McLean. Their feels are fucking. I love them. Their feels are so nice. So, you know, maybe if I could mix those three up into one person. Uh, but if I were to choose, I'd probably pick Bonham because he's dope. And then what head or
Yeah. Like the whole cognizant, like actually making drum parts and you know, just like being real cerebral with it
Neil Peart then. Neil Peart. He'd
Yeah.
have to be the one because you know, he fucking composes his parts.
Yeah.
I mean, he would even compose his drum solos and shit before he started doing the improv thing. But so yeah, Neil Peart.
Cool. That's a really good list, man. I'm gonna have a lot of links in the descriptions.
It's a hard one. That's a hard one.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. Here's a more easier one. Wood or nylon tip?
Wood. But I love the sound of wood, but nylon I hate that it fucking cracks all the time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always these broken tips. I don't have an endorsement, so that's just expensive.
Yeah, no shit. Well, if they didn't break, would you use nylon more?
No, I don't like the way nylon sounds.
Okay,
No.
cool. All right. Here's one that I get like varying answers, but they all like morph into the same answer. So I want to see if this happens to you as well. Do you like using a metronome or your internal clock?
For like what? practicing or gigs or
for whatever?
I mean, I think it depends on the application then. For practicing, I like to use a metronome because there's no way that you can know that you're in time without a metronome. You could feel like you're in time, but you're probably drifting. You know what I mean? Unless you're like Eric Moore or something. um, so in practicing, I wish I would have started using a metronome, when I first started playing drums. You know what I mean? But for live gigs or whatever, I like to not use a metronome because I feel like I'm tied down to it. If I were like really good at it, then I'm sure I wouldn't feel that way, and I would just be playing with it. You know what I mean? Like you bury the click. But I'm not. I'm not that. My timing isn't that good. It was better before, but I'm out of practice with that aspect because I don't have to play with the click live. It's not so good. I don't mind it because I like the steadiness of it, but live it's like I don't like to feel tied down to it. So live, no metronome, practice metronome.
Well, okay, so I want you to dig into why you don't want to, because I have a certain I guess way of thinking with the metronome and the live situation. I want you to explain why you feel like you're tied down.
I mean, because I guess because my time kind of wavers, like I feel like I'm a slave to the metronome. You know what I mean? Instead of just me playing and it's just like I don't need to really think about it. It's there and I'm on. Like even when I'm practicing, like I was practicing before this conversation, and I was practicing with the metronome, and you're going, and then you kind of just are thinking about the drums, and then when you listen, it's like, oh shit, I'm off the metronome. You know what I mean? Like you drift from it without realizing it, and like you can't do that in a live situation, or else you're going to be off with whatever sequence or whatever. So it's like, and then it's hard to get back on.
Yeah.
So I get, in a live situation, it's tough because you're playing with a band of people that if you're off, everything is off, kind of. You know what I mean? So I guess I feel like I'm a slave because I'm wavering from it. I'm not able to just be right on all the time, and like I don't know. I mean, when you're with the metronome, like you don't feel like a slave to it.
So it's weird the way that you put it. It's similar, but also different to the way that I feel. The metronome. I also feel that it's like when you're playing to the metronome and you're live. Like the thing that I like to look at it, the point of view I like to look at it is like, let's say you have a favorite band, like, I don't know, I'm gonna just name a band off the top of my head, Stone Temple Pilots, right? So let's say you buy tickets for Stone Temple Pilots show at the Garden, and then you buy another show for down here in Philly at the Wells Fargo Center, right? So you go to the show in the Garden, you go to the show at Philly. The Garden is fucking happening. It's like crowded. The crowd's into it. You're just feeling it, but you have to play to this metronome, right? So you've got all this like crazy energy from this crowd, and you got to dial it down for the metronome. Then you go over to Philly, right? And us as people watching the different shows see this as well. So you go to Philly crowds like, it's okay. The energy is like not anywhere near last night at the Garden. And then you got to like pump it up for the metronome. So I feel like if I was a drummer and I was playing live, I would want to play off of what's going on in my life and not be a slave to the metronome.
Yeah.
So, there's been times where I've played my crappy shit, like small shows, right? And there's 2-3 people there, and it's like you can go either way with it. You can say, you know what? It's a empty crowd, but there's like 2 or 3 people, and they're really loving it. So, I'm gonna play the hell out of this song. And if the tempo wavers, and that's because, that's how I feel, and that's how us as a band feels. Or if there's like a medium-sized crowd, but they're just kind of like all talking to each other, they're not like into the show or whatever, then you like pump it up and you play the songs faster a little bit, and it just like injects life into the show.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with a metronome.
Right.
Every show is going to be the exact fucking same thing over and over again. And it's also, like there's no personality.
It's like humans, we're humans. We're not fucking robots. So it's like, like humans, I don't know. It makes sense to waver a little bit. And like you're saying, yeah, you push the tempo a little bit to get the energy up, and you hold it back a little bit. It should ebb and flow, not just, it depends on the kind of music and what you're doing or whatever. I'm not against metronomes at all, but I do prefer to not play with the metronome because of that, what you just said. You want to push a pull or whatever. And we're fucking humans.
And it's so much harder nowadays. I've interviewed a few guys that play in their church, and they've got samples going on. They've got like a lot of different shit going on, and they just want, church is a lot different, I think, as far as like the audience that you're playing to, and it's got to be a little bit more structured. So that a lot of the church drummers play to a metronome, and I can understand that. But yeah, for like just rock, I think you don't need a metronome.
Yeah.
And if you like have a bunch of samples in your music and you can't like, it's just, that's why I think rock is dead, man. Like before people would use orchestras and it would be real strings, real woodwinds, real everything recorded at Capitol Records or whatever the place was. And then if they wanted to replicate that on stage, they would have to have some, like it would be a lot smaller, but they would have to have an orchestra, and it would. Nowadays, it's like it's got to be sampled because you don't like have the money to spend for an orchestra, which means you got to go to a metronome, and it's just like everything is so. It's just like robotic now.
Yeah,
and I think that's a big reason why rock isn't as cool as it used to be.
I'm sure a lot of that is budgets have gone down, you know what I mean? Because you got to hire a whole orchestra or whatever. That's not cheap.
Yeah.
And take them on tour or whatever, like Jesus. So, it's easy to do all that. You can put all that shit on the sampler pad or in a little box with the, sampler or whatever. Like, it makes sense financially, but yeah, like humanistically, it doesn't feel the same. A canned orchestra is not the same as a live orchestra. It's just not, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know. That's just how it is now, though. What are you going to do? You know what I mean?
But it's so crazy because, like, the top tier bands, when you go to their show, it's like huge stages and big props, and it's kind of like catering to the lowest common denominator. It's like, I see. Like what I do with Hana, right? Is, I want her to look at, or get her attention away from something. I use like a big prop and be like, oh, hey, look at this big shiny thing. Look over here. Don't look over there. And that's kind of like what they're doing with these live shows and all these big props and whatnot. It's like, okay, don't pay attention to how not cool the music is anymore. Pay attention to this big fucking monster coming at you or whatever the hell.
I think like I've never seen the Muse live, but I imagine the Muse, like they kind of do that. Like it's all very, the light show's crazy and the drum riser goes like way the hell up there and all that stuff. Like Foo Fighters, they're pretty much just about the music. You know what I mean? I respect that. Not that I don't respect the Muse or Muse, but like Foos, they keep it like real, just rock and roll. You know what I mean? And other bands do too. But yeah, like it is like just like sensory overload, spectacle. It's just like let's keep it about the music.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll probably. Well, the thing is with this whole YouTube thing is, like, I always try to, I don't know, not censor myself, but like kind of put caveats out there, like, well, but
yeah.
The one thing I've started to learn is like controversy actually like helps grow your channel. So if I say something somewhat controversial, it helps because someone's gonna say, oh, well, no, I disagree with you. And it's go through this whole like long ass thread. And that's what I'm hoping is like,
Fuck
people
hip
interact.
hop, fuck rock and roll, fuck Lady Gaga, fuck everybody.
Fuck them, man.
Is that controversial enough?
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Is Lady
No, that's
Gaga even a thing now? I think hasn't she
right.
moved on to like movies and stuff?
I don't know. I respect her though. I like Lady Gaga. I think she's cool.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm so like far removed from pop and
Oh, me
all
too.
of that
I
shit.
don't listen to her, but I like I like her. I don't know, but I don't really listen to a lot of music actually, honestly, like that much.
Yeah, me neither. Like it's funny. Like I did a cover with my friend, the girl that I was talking to you about before, and so her husband was like watching the cover, and he was like, "Oh, this is great. When are you gonna do another video with Kelly?" And so I was like, "Yeah, when are you gonna do another cover?" So she's like, "Well, why don't we do a Taylor Swift song?" And I was like, "Oh." Inside, I was like, "Fuck,"
Yeah,
because I've never actually listened to Taylor Swift. All I know about Taylor Swift is what's in the media.
yeah,
And from a guy's perspective, she's kind of like she looks like this like man-hating bitch, right? Like so my initial I was just like, "Oh shit, man. I don't want to do a fucking Taylor Swift song." So then she says, "You should do her new single Lover." So I was like, you know what? I love you, Amy. I'll do anything for you because you are awesome and you're an awesome person. So I actually like went on YouTube, listened to the song, and I was like, oh shit, it's actually like it's really super simple. I could probably play the drums left-handed. I could probably play like all the instruments, which I think it's simple because I watched her video and she's actually the one playing all the instruments.
oh,
So there's a reason why the song's simple, but it's also there's a like good chord structure. Um, her melody is good. It's very like when a movie is a period piece and you're watching it and you're kind of like drawn into that period. The her song is similar. It's produced really well so that you feel like you're in this like huge like hangar and everything's reverberating and like I can just sense there's just certain songs where you listen to it and you feel like you're in this place,
yeah,
and it may not even be the place that they intended you to be, but you just go there. And this is one of those songs. So I was like, you know what? Even though it's super simple, it takes me to a place, and that's what like the best thing about music is. A good song will take you to some place that you would never imagine by yourself.
right.
So this song does it, and I was like, oh shit, you know what? All my preconceived notions about Taylor Swift might be wrong. So, um, now I have a little bit more of an open mind. I haven't gone and listened to any of her other stuff yet, but now I'm not like this. I don't think she's this like crazy bitch.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny that we just kind of like put people in these boxes when we don't even really know.
Yeah.
But it's just that's what media kind of does to us, I guess, right? They kind of make you think they want you to think maybe a certain way, but you have to do your own research to really know the whole picture and shit. But I
Yeah.
don't really care to do the research, you know, for certain artists and shit. Like I don't care. Like I don't need to, Like I have friends who are our age who are like really into Billie Eilish or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I've never listened to her. I've never really listened to her. I don't really understand, but she's all the rage apparently. I don't know, but
Yeah.
like I mean, Dave Grohl like speaks really highly of her, and I have friends that like her and shit. But I don't care enough to go do the research to really know if I like. I don't know. I don't know if that makes me a bad person or whatever, but I just don't
Well,
care.
yeah, it's like I don't know how many new fans someone like James Taylor is making.
Yeah,
Like all of his fans were made in their 20s and when they're in their impressionable years. I think we're past our impressionable years, like we like our cures and our rushes and
yeah, yeah,
you know all that stuff in the 80s and the 90s, and the new stuff is just it's not that we can't like it, it's just a lot harder
Yeah.
to grasp it.
It's funny because like, you know, growing up when I was younger, like 20 years younger or whatever, I would always be like, I'm gonna be the cool like dad. I'm gonna be the cool older guy who like was always hip, who always knows what's up. That couldn't be further from the truth now, you know. I have no idea what's fucking going on, you know. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. It's like, oh well, whatever. Like that's the crazy part about getting older is you have like these opinions when you're younger, and you don't realize until you get older that all those opinions change.
Uh-huh.
And it's okay. It's okay to change. Like
Uh-huh.
that's the part that I'm starting to realize more is um you just don't know a lot of stuff when you're that young.
Yeah. I will say that my opinion still holds true to this day that 80s music is the best.
Really?
I love 80s music, man. And of course it's because like that's what I grew up in. And you know, that's like that was the music when our formative years, you know, where we had a lot of time to listen to music, devote to just like sitting there looking at the album cover and like listening to it over and over and over and over. You know, we don't have time for that anymore. But
Yeah.
so that all plays a factor in why it means so much. But I don't know. I just like, I fucking love 80s music, man. It's like, that's my shit. You know, and it's because I was a teenager at that time.
So I think I have like I obviously love 80s music as well. And I actually have a friend who kind of put this post up on Facebook, and it was like a vote whether what decade is better, the 80s or the 90s. And it was weird that he asked that. He didn't ask about the 70s. He didn't ask about the early 2000s, which I think are also like unbelievable decades for music. But he specifically said the 80s and the 90s. And whatever his reasoning was, like I don't know. I didn't ask him. Actually, shit, I think I'm interviewing him tomorrow, so I might ask him that.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but to me, it made me think if I had to pick two decades, it would be the 80s and the 90s, because the 80s I feel like is where a lot of the experimentation ended, and it was more like starting to hone in on what worked. And then the 90s was building on top of that. So you had a lot of the songwriting that was good in the 80s, but maybe the execution wasn't the greatest, the technology wasn't the greatest, and the equipment wasn't the greatest. So then you hit into the 90s and you've got way better of all of that. So performances to me, I think, are a little bit better in the 90s than they were in the 80s. But the songwriting, I think, still is a little bit better in the 80s than the 90s. I want to know what your opinion is. This isn't one of the drum related questions. It's kind of like a spawn question.
Wait, you're saying, did you say that songwriting was better in the 80s or in the 90s?
In the 80s. In the
Oh.
80s.
I don't know if I don't know about that, but I will say that like you were saying, the experimentation kind of ended in the 80s or whatever. Like I think they were still experimenting because like all the synthesizers and stuff, that was still like a kind of a newish thing, you know what I mean? Depeche Mode and I don't know, whoever, like I think they were still experimenting with, oh, look at these sounds that we can get or whatever. So I mean, that was I don't know. I mean, and of course I don't really know the facts, but if just from my, you know, opinion of it or whatever, it seems like they were still experimenting with sounds and all that kind of stuff. I mean, but in the 90s to me, like it got more kind of rock oriented, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like there was more guitars, more electric guitars, more like, you know, Smashing Pumpkins, fucking Rage Against the Machine, like all the grunge shit, like, you know, away from the synths, more, you know, typical rock kind of thing. So and that's, even though that's my favorite, you know, I love rock, but you know, just because I grew up in the 80s, I like that more. Both decades have like really good songwriting, so I'm not sure like what's better. It's just, I don't know if I can. It's like apples and oranges kind of to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's hard to compare. Like I enjoy both. You know, like, but I enjoy the 80s a little more just because it's nostalgic to me, I guess. Not necessarily because I like oh, the songs are better. It's just, I think it just brings me back to a time that was like, oh, growing up and all my fucking high school friends and just like these memories and just like, the feeling of like, I don't know, of that, I think that's what it means to me. It's just, it's more the nostalgia of it, I guess. And I mean, it is good music to me. I love the music,
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to kind of pinpoint what it is about those decades. And it's hard to separate your personal feelings and the nostalgia with like actual, concrete evidence as to why that era is better than any other era.
Honestly, I think it's like, it's gonna come down to your formative years. That's how, like, whatever kids like. I bet you most people, even, I mean, adults, our people our age, whoever, adults, their favorite music, I bet you, is gonna be some band that's like when they grew up with. You know what I mean? Like, that's what means the most to you, because when you're, a teenager with all these hormones and emotions and everything's so exaggerated, like, you just like, this song connected with you back then, and that's what is going to stay with you for your whole life. I think, I believe that that's a big part of it, is like what you grew up with in that particular time in your life. You know what I mean? So that's why, like, all these like whoever artists want to try to grab kids when they're young, because that's when they're gonna, they'll be lifelong fans.
Yeah.
Like, and when you get older, you just like your tastes get more refined. You don't give a shit about certain things. You don't even want to explore different things. You don't have time to explore different things. So it's harder to like be introduced to, new things, or care to get introduced to new things.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I was growing up, a big influence was Morrissey and the Smiths. I mean, I was even vegan for a while because of them. Like, I can't even imagine, like, if the Smiths never happened and they started playing now, like, I'd probably be like, what the fuck is this shit? What is this vegan crap?
That's so funny that you say that, because I was just the other day, like, I forgot what band it was, but I was like, and I forgot who I was talking to, but I did say, like, do you think if it was today, this band would be, oh, maybe it was at that Daydream Festival. Oh, I think he was actually talking to my friend about The Cure. Like, if The Cure started today, do you think they would be as popular if they started today?
I actually think The Cure would.
You think?
I think so, because they have this like woe is me sadness type thing that a lot of, I think, kids tend to gravitate to. Them, I think, more than almost any other 80s band, I think would still be popular.
Huh. I mean, yeah, who knows? But it's like with the, hip hop and all that being popular,
yeah,
like, it's hard to compete against that, though. So it's like, I don't know. Who knows? But like,
well, they definitely wouldn't be as huge as they are. That's for sure.
They could be maybe just like a local, small, like a mid-level band or something.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Timing definitely has a lot to do with it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So we were born at the wrong time. That's why we're not famous.
Yeah. Yeah, it's time. It's not our fault.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let me try to get one or two more questions about drums. Let's see. If you could play on any one famous drummer's kit, who would it be?
Wow. It's funny because, like, you go into a record store and you're like, what album do I want? It's like too many choices. I don't even know. So like, I would want to say like Neil Peart's kit. But then I don't, like, there's too many things to hit. Where do I start? Like, you know what I mean? I'm just going to start with this,
Yeah.
But his kit seems pretty fun to play on. I would like to check that out.
Yeah, for sure.
I would say, or maybe it's overwhelming, but Terry Bozzio's,
Oh my God.
That's overwhelming, but it would be interesting to sit behind it.
Yeah.
Number one choice. Sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Just number one choice would be probably Neil Peart's.
Cool. Let's see. I'll use this as the last one. Do you prefer to be on stage or in the studio?
I mean, I guess. Well, I haven't over all of my years. I don't have as much experience in the studio as I would like to have had. I enjoy being in the studio, like even though it's kind of nerve wracking because you're like being recorded and every little mistake gets recorded. But I don't know. I just like recording it and then hearing it back. It's like, yeah, that was me. I did that shit. You know what I mean? And it sounds like good. You know what I mean? But playing live, you're playing in the studio. You don't get that feedback from the audience and shit. You don't have that energy. It's a different thing. I think both exercise like they satisfy different aspects, but I guess I prefer live better because it's just, I love the feedback, and I like the energy of, that you just get from playing in the crowd and all that stuff. Nothing beats that.
Yeah. And you have experience in that because you've been able to tour.
Yeah.
You've been able to, was it Letterman that you were on?
Letterman and Jimmy Kimmel.
Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
That was probably the most nerve-wracking thing I've ever done. Letterman, that shit was scary as fuck. It's crazy. I'll let you in on that's not a secret, but I'll let you in on, if you can watch the Letterman performance on my YouTube channel, and you can hear. So the song starts with the keyboard. The song started with a keyboard, and when the keyboard, he was like a great songwriter, but performance-wise, like he wasn't the greatest performer. So like whenever when he started the song, I didn't know where the fucking downbeat was.
Oh,
so
shit.
like, so fucking luckily the singer counted off 1, 2, 3, 4. So if he didn't do that, it would have been a disaster on national TV, because I didn't know where the fucking downbeat was.
Wow. Do you think he recognized that?
I don't know. I hope yes. You know what I mean? I don't know. Either way though, I fucking thank God that he did that, because like I was so thrown off. I guess those guys play together since high school, so they probably are used to, like, they just know. Yeah. And then, of course it was their songs, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't write the song with them, but like I was scared, dude. I was like, TV was on, red lights, I'm on the stage, like, and he started it. I was like, oh shit.
Oh damn! Wow.
I was sweating fucking balls, dude. But then luckily he counted that shit off, so I was like, oh, thank God. And then the rest of the performance went fine. But that first like few seconds, I was shitting bricks.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you'll see it if you watch the thing, he'll count it off. I don't know if you can like see my face being like.
Oh man, yeah. See, those are the types of things I don't envy at all, man. Because there's been times where it's like the guitar player or whatever starts the song, and it's like, especially when you're a cover band. Like I was in a cover band. These guys were all like at some level in their life were pro musicians. So, meter to them is like, it's like your heartbeat. It's like, it's there. But you don't know that it's there. You're not paying attention to your heartbeat. It's just there. So, and they've been playing for 30 years before I joined their band. So they just go straight into songs sometimes, and sometimes they'll like improv and not go off their set list. And it's like, you just got to be like ready. Yeah. And that shit's fucking nerve wracking, man. Yeah. Yeah. I know. So I can't even imagine being on fucking Letterman. TV.
Yeah. Playing in front of millions of people. Yeah, that shit was fucking scary, dude. Like, only, I mean, it was scary just like playing on TV. But then, like, for that to happen and not know where the downbeat is, like, like, if you start off the song fucked up, you just blew it. You blew it on national TV. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you drop a beat in the middle of the song, like, that sucks. But, like, that's not as bad as starting off bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was scary. But thank Chad, I guess, for counting that shit off. I mean, but man. Yeah, I was stoked to, like, because I got that experience, it kind of like, you know, that was one of my dreams. You know what I mean? Playing on Letterman, and I got to do it. So like, you know, like I don't. I feel personally that I don't have as many. You know, like fuck, I didn't get to do this and that. You know, like I'm just like a bitter, like guy who didn't make it or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like I got to achieve some cool things, so I'm you know pretty happy with it. You know what I mean?
So, did it live up to whatever expectation you had?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Cool.
it was awesome. I mean, you know, just the fact that I could say that I did it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? The performance itself, like it was. I mean, the performance it was good, but you know, Letterman is weird because it's very sterile and quiet and like, you know what I mean? It's like you're
Yeah.
just playing to just a bunch of people sitting down.
Yeah.
You know, when we did Kimmel, we were on the smaller stage indoors, and like everybody was right there standing and cheering. So it was like a live, it was like it was like the feel of a live concert. Letterman was like, I don't know, everybody just like we were under a microscope or something. So it was very different.
Weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really weird, but you know, it was Letterman, so it was like, fuck, dude, you know. But yeah, I'm really happy that I got to do those things.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's I never knew that little tidbit.
Yeah,
Interesting
most
stuff,
people
man.
don't. I don't think anybody does really.
Well, now they do.
Yeah, I'm just glad I didn't fuck up.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
That would have sucked.
Yeah, you would have. I don't think you. I wouldn't pick up another set of drumsticks. I don't think ever.
No, yeah, that would have followed you around for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if they do like retakes in Letterman. You know what I mean? Like if you fuck it up, if you could re-record it again, maybe they do. I don't know, but
Huh.
I'm glad I don't. I don't think about that. Like, luckily it didn't happen that way.
Yeah. No shit. Cool, man. All right. Well, I want to go to this next section where I am an interviewer and you are looking for a job, which, you know, I don't want to conjure up any bad memories or anything. So let's try to keep this as fun as possible.
Okay. This part's always nerve-wracking.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start off with a positive question. What are your strengths?
My strengths is I'm very organized, very responsible. You know, I'm good. I'm like a lead. I could be, you know, a leader. I like to take charge and like take initiative. You know what I mean? I don't wait for to be told to do something. I just do it. I'm conscientious about what needs to happen, and you know, just yeah, I'm conscious of what needs to happen, and I do it. I'm reliable. I'm always on time, never late. I don't know. Is that enough? That's a lot of good things, I think.
Cool. Well, then what about weaknesses? What are some of your weaknesses?
uh, I guess I could be impatient sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if like if it's a work situation and I have to explain something, like fine, no problem. I like to teach, I like to explain. But if you don't like write it down or remember it and you're asking me like another like again and then a third time, it's like, dude, write this shit down. I already explained it to you. Like, you know, come on.
Yeah.
So I guess in that respect, like that could be a weakness. I don't come across as an asshole, but you know, like maybe that's a weakness. Maybe another weakness is I don't know if it's a weakness, but like I don't like to like if I'm in the middle of a task, I don't like to stop it until like I'm done with it. I have this weird OCD that I want to finish it before I move on, and sometimes it's not just realistic. You have to stop it and move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And complete something else or whatever. But I don't know if that's a weakness, but that's like a trait or whatever. But maybe impatience is, you know, a weakness, I guess.
I mean, even that, the way you explain it is not a weakness because Colleen and I are the same thing. We were trying to hire a nanny, right? And I mean, what more pressure job than being a nanny, right? You go into somebody
Right.
else's house and watching their kid. they obviously are going to have things that they need you to do for this kid because not all kids are the same. All kids are similar, but they're not the same. So you can't treat every kid the same.
Yeah.
You got to go case by case.
Yeah.
And because so, you either have to have a really good memory or you got to write some shit down. So the first person that we interviewed, she didn't write anything down. She was a mom. So if she's a mom, then she's automatically qualified to be a nanny. Well, she was kind of a shitty mom. So, like and she didn't write any other things down that we wanted her to pay attention to. So, luckily, Colleen was still off of work, so that this lady can come and under supervision watch Hannah. And none of the things that we wanted her to do, she did. She kind of like mommed Hannah like she mommed her kids.
Uh-huh.
And we're like, whoa, this is not going to work at all.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, well, Colleen and I are both nice people. So we're not like being assholes about it, but we're like, oh, no, we wanted you to do this or we wanted you to do that. She's like, oh, okay. So we're like, okay, well, at least she's like, listening and let's see if she applies. No, same old shit. And it's like, dude, Jesus fucking Christ, man. Like, and now you wonder why you can't get a job and you're trying to nanny, you can't get a nanny job. And it's like, there's only so much that you can take as a person, right?
Yeah.
So some people might call it being impatient, but I think those are people who are not taking into account like your needs. We have certain needs that need to be met, and we're going to pay somebody to do this.
Yeah.
They should at least, listen to what it is they need to do.
Yeah, of course.
So that's not us being impatient. That's them being dense or ignorant.
Yeah.
Or, like so to me, like that's not impatient. Impatience is like, you see somebody struggling, and instead of trying to help them, you're like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Well,
so,
but that impatience does bleed into my personal life, where I could maybe be like that. You know what I mean? So it's like if I can fix that in my professional life, I'm sure it would carry over to my personal life a little bit. Vice versa. You know what I mean? So just an overall personal trait. I'm sure it's like I could be better. I could be more patient in certain ways.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. All right. I think I know what this answer is, but what is your dream job?
That's a tough one, man. I mean, of course, drumming would be my fucking dream job. But I don't know if I'd want to be on tour all the time. How do you make a living drumming if you're not? I mean, I guess you could either be a studio musician, it seems. Well, I guess now you could either be a studio musician, a live drummer, or a YouTube star.
Yeah.
That's like legitimate. Like you could actually make money from YouTube.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm good enough to be a studio cat and a YouTube guy. So like maybe live would be the only kind of possibility for me, maybe. But then that means I'm on the road all the time, like to make a living. And I don't know if I really would want to be on the road that much.
Yeah.
So, obviously that was like a dream growing up and shit. But then when I actually got to do it for a minute, like it was like, yeah, this is cool, but then I'm away from my girlfriend and my family and my friends, like for long periods of time, and it's kind of a bummer,
Especially when the guys you're touring with, you don't really like.
Yeah, get along with.
Yeah.
Not to get along with, but they're we'll just say that. So yeah, that sucks. If it was not that situation, it would have probably been way cooler. But unfortunately, that wasn't the situation. And then so that would that's my longtime dream. I would love to be an editor in TV, or you know what I mean. And hopefully that'll eventually happen. But I don't know. I just got to see what just got to keep working at it, I guess, and see what happens. But even that, it's like not ideal because then you're working like 50 hours a week, and I want to work less hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at least 50 hours a week, if not more. I would like to work less hours and have, still time for music and shit. You know what I mean? Like right now, it's even hard to have time for music. I only get to play music really on weekends. So it's like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if my dream job would be like, I mean, I would like to be a comedian or an actor. You know what I mean? Even though I don't practice any of that. I'm not like I don't have any, it's just, I love comedy. So that'd be like, oh, it'd be cool to be a comic. Or, I love movies and shit. So it'd be cool to be an actor. But obviously, like, those aren't things that I do. But
I mean, even if your dream job is to sit on a fucking beach for the rest of your life, that's a valid answer.
that's not a job though.
So what? I mean, if it's something that you want to do, like what do you want to do
I
for
would
the
like to
rest of it?
travel. I would like to travel and, I mean, traveling and like shooting, shooting things about where the place I'm at, maybe, or whatever. Like traveling would be like, it's high on my list of like what I would like to do, you know? And even traveling also means like going to this dope beach and just chilling there for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just seeing the world. Like that's what I would really like to do.
Mm.
I feel like we're tied down to these fucking things that like hold us like, oh, I gotta pay my bills. I gotta have a job to pay my bills, and all these fucking things like hold you back from like living life. So I don't know. Like if I had if I were rich and I didn't have to work, I would travel. That's what I would do.
What what kind of travel would you do?
What do you mean?
Like you can like I mean, and you can say everything too, but there's like going outdoor traveling where you're like camping and hiking, and there's glamorous traveling where you're going to 5-star hotels and all this shit. And then
Oh,
there's, you know, traveling on a boat where you're going on cruises or a yacht or whatever. And then there's, there's different types of traveling.
no, yeah. I mean, I guess number one would be, going to different cities and different places in the world and, staying in hotels kind of thing. You know what I mean? 5-star hotels would be the dopest, but, like, I mean, like the traveling that rich people, I would imagine, do, like, that would be like the coolest kind of traveling because then you're fucking pampered and you got like a nice hotel to stay at and, you get all that treatment. Who wouldn't love that, right? But,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
I guess, I mean, that would be dope. But I would also like to go, I don't really care to do like hike the John Muir Trail for like a month or whatever. I don't care to do that. But I also I would like to camp and go see, the country's so beautiful, man. There's so much to see. Like just go see, like really, my coworker, my buddy Tony, he does that regularly. He goes camping and stuff, like gets off the grid like once a month at least, goes off the grid, like, and that's cool, man. I wish I was like that into it. He's like really into camping. He does it like pro style now. He's done it so much, but
Huh.
it's a priority to him to do that, to unplug and like to get out into nature, and like that's really dope. Like I wouldn't mind doing that every once in a while too, but mainly I would like to go to, I don't know, just different countries, Europe or Iceland or wherever. I don't know. You
Hmm.
know.
Okay, cool. Yeah, man, that's I think I would probably do the same thing. Like if I won the lottery, let's say, uh yeah, I would like to just take Colleen and Hana and just like see all the different cities. The limited cities that I've seen so far. Um it never gets old, man. It just never gets old seeing how people live the same but also different.
Yeah.
Like totally similar things and totally like completely different things. And it's cool to see like how certain cities are a lot more forward than cities in the US, or some are a lot more like in the back, like still like in the past. It's almost like when you travel, you time travel also.
Yeah. It's. I think it should be mandatory for everyone to travel, like, because it opens your worldview to, you see things that you don't even know like exist. You don't even think like, whoa, that's crazy. Like, my life actually isn't as bad as I thought it was, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it would it would it changes your frame of mind about things. So I think it should be like a mandatory thing that people when they're like younger should have to travel. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally. I
Yeah.
mean, especially there's so many kids out there that feel like entitled or they take things for granted. And, one trip down to even Mexico would change that.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
I mean, let alone places like even south, more south, like in Central America or to India, for instance. I mean, you you get your ass handed to you really quick.
Yeah. I think
And
that's an important thing to learn, especially for kids for not, who are kind of poorer and stuff. Maybe, they wouldn't, I don't know, they would see like shit, like it could get even worse.
yeah,
Maybe, or whatever. I don't know. It definitely would open your mind to something. It would teach you something, whatever that would be,
yeah,
you know? So,
yeah, I
yeah.
agree, man. I totally agree. Okay, well, let's see. One more question from the job related section. Do you have any like personal mentors? Not like movie stars or music stars, but people like that are close to you that have helped you along the way that um you look back and you say, oh, without this person or without that person, I wouldn't be the person who I am now.
Not really, man. I've never really had that kind of person in my life. Uh, to be. I mean, my mentors, I guess, would be my friends growing up, because like my friends are my family. I don't have any brothers. I mean, I have a half sister, but she's like 10 years younger. We weren't close growing up, so I didn't really have family growing up. So I would always hang out at my friend's house, and like they were my family, and his family was my family. You know.
Mm.
So I mean, I guess my mentors were my childhood friends. You know what I mean? They taught me like just good and bad things. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but I never really had like that. When I was a kid in elementary school, I did have. I was. What was that program? Like, remember like a boys. You had like an older person, like kind of be a father figure or whatever. Uh, Remember that
Yeah.
shit when we were young? I did that.
Uh,
It was like I forget what it's called.
uh,
Uh,
uh, like brother something. Oh,
yeah,
damn
yeah.
it.
You know what I'm talking about, though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had that for a minute, and I don't know. I don't know. I guess I was kind of a mentor, but that was so long ago when it wasn't very long, and I think he kind of dropped me because I wasn't into it or something. But he kind of was trying to be that mentor, which is special
Big
at the time.
Brothers, was that what it was? Big Brothers?
Maybe that was it. I think that was it. That's not. Yeah, I think that was it. I was part of that for a minute,
Mm.
but I don't know. That was. I don't know if I could say that was like a mentor because it was so short lived. Trying to
I
think over
mean,
the years, man. I don't know.
do you think if you would have like it's kind of almost I, I don't want to say sad, but it's kind of almost like, damn, man, like, do you think if you would have had somebody like just right off the top of your head that you could say, oh, it was my brother or my uncle or my dad or whatever, do you think that would have made any sort of difference in your life?
I mean, I'm sure it would have. Like, you mean difference like to have a mentor and just change my life for the better? You mean? You're frozen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh no.
yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you had somebody that tried to help you, I don't know, like I don't want to say, like I think you're an awesome guy. You I don't know if you feel like you're happy in the place that you are now, but to me, as a friend on the outside, you seem like an awesome guy, and you seem like you're pretty happy, especially right now. But maybe if you would have had somebody, because I know for sure for me, like my dad, he I think at the beginning of my life he was a lot more involved, and as time went by, he kind of like was more withdrawn. And like my uncle was a good big influence on me, but he was also not there a lot because he was touring and all that stuff, and he had his own family to take care of. Um, but I know that if I would have had somebody that was just involved in my life constantly,
Yeah.
telling me, you probably shouldn't do that, or maybe you should try doing this or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I definitely think I'd probably be in a different place than I am now. And which is weird because I love my life where I'm at right now. I don't think I'd ever want it to be any different. But looking back, if I had some sort of mentor like that, who knows?
Right. I mean, I'm sure it would have been different, but I don't know if that means it's better or worse. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, nobody was teaching me right or wrong back then. You know, it was just like all of us friends like doing the shit that getting into trouble we got into, and smoking a lot of weed and drinking when we probably shouldn't have been, and that kind of stuff. But I don't think any of that made me a bad person. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, I guess it depends on who the mentor was and what they're teaching you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, because like if you look at you on paper, you have a degree from an amazing school. You have your own place. You're living with your girlfriend. Everything looks great.
right.
So, do you think? I mean, obviously, it can be better. You can be millionaires and whatnot,
Yeah.
but in the grand scheme of things, do you think that you would be in a better place if you had more direction? Like a good example to me is like you know when I was a kid, I started drawing, and I had like a pretty good, like I was pretty good.
Hey, can you close that door when you leave? Thank you.
Um,
Kelly's saying hi right here.
you're all blurred in the background.
Yeah.
Um, so I was actually pretty good at drawing. Like I could draw, like I wasn't great at organic shapes, but like anything that was like geometrical or even like I would draw roller coasters really good.
Oh yeah.
But my parents they would see it and they'd be like, "Oh, that looks so great," and then they would just like get me a new pencil or a new pad of paper. They never took that initiative to be like, "Let's put him into art classes. Let's
Yeah.
put him through the grind and
Yeah.
see if he actually is committed to doing this shit." And it's like, if I were to have gone through that and see how much like work you have to do, not just like your natural talent, because drawing, you can be naturally good, but there's still things that you have to know. You have to know perspective, you have to know shading, you have to know like all these different things in order to like refine that natural talent. Same thing with drums.
Right.
And there was nobody in my life that saw my ability
Mm-hmm.
and put it through the grinder
Mm-hmm.
to see that if that if my like that I could apply my ability and create a work ethic. Like it took me 30-40 years to understand that, where it's not just your ability. You have to, the best people are the ones that have to work on it, that
Yeah.
don't have that ability,
Yeah.
that have to work and attain those skills. And those are usually the ones that are more successful because they're not relying solely on your talent.
Yeah.
And I never had that. And I look back and I'm like, if I would have had that, my life would probably be a lot different.
Right.
And so that's what I try to instill, or I'm going to instill. Like Hannah's still way too young.
Right.
She's doesn't even have real motor skills yet. But once she does, and when she starts showing interest in things, I'm going to foster that and try to get her the best assistance, and just to even see if it'll last. Like if she loves swimming, right?
Yeah.
Get her in that pool and get her a teacher that's going to like pound her ass in doing all these swimming drills. If she passes all those tests, she gets to go to the next level and the next level. And the higher you rise, you know, the everything gets weeded out and you become a professional.
Yeah.
And I think that's what was lacking from me. And I think probably a lot of people in our generation.
Yeah, I did wish that my mom, I mean, she did what she could, you know what I mean? She was a single mom raising me and shit. But like I did wish that she got me drum lessons and like maybe, supported my, cuz I was banging on the coffee table since I was like, in well, at least 4th grade, probably if not before. But, I destroyed our coffee table by banging on it so much. You know what I mean? Like so if she would have like supported that a little more and like maybe got me lessons, seeing I had a thing, then maybe I could have been like a legit professional drummer. You know what I mean? I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
But you know, that's not how it happens. So whatever. But I mean, I want having like a mentor. You know, oh, would my life be different now or better? Like it's all relative, I guess. You know what I mean? Like what really? Like, oh yeah, what if I was like already like a professional musician or a fucking editor or whatever, like reached my goals? That doesn't necessarily mean I'd still be happy.
Yeah.
You know, I could still have these internal things that are still fucking with me. So
Yeah.
I mean, and a mentor doesn't necessarily. Well, I don't know. I've never had it, so I'm not sure if that's. I'm not sure if that would be like a part, like kind of like having a shrink or something, where you can help figure things out or whatever. I don't know, but you know,
Yeah, I think a good example is like Michael Phelps, right? I mean, he has
mm,
all these fucking gold medals and shit, but he's like depressed. So,
yeah,
like, and I think he attributes it to, you're so focused on one thing, and you don't live life,
yeah,
because you're too busy swimming.
yeah,
Like you're in the pool. There's a
yeah.
whole world outside of that pool that
See,
he's,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I think I was the opposite of that. I was always focused on hanging out and like not really partying and shit, but you know, it's just like someone called me. It's like, you want to hang out? Let's go. Instead of like, well, maybe I should practice drums right now or something. You know what I mean? I was like the other way for me. Like I wish I would have maybe spent more time practicing or something. I mean, I don't really regret things, but you know, it would have maybe been turned out differently if I didn't concentrate so much on fucking hanging out, you know, and
yeah.
just like having fun. But
Okay, so that I want to stop the job related questions and go straight to the speed dating questions, or in your
uh,
case, the get to know you questions. Because right there, you just said that, like we're talking about um, things that happened in our life and whether or not they would be better or not better. And opening this whole interview with the grass is never greener.
yeah.
You have no idea what is on the other side. So, question number one for the get to know you better questions: do you think we live in a simulation?
That's funny. Have you watched that show Dark on Netflix?
No.
Oh, that's a trippy show, man. It's like has to do with time travel and shit, and it's and like fate and destiny. Like, do we have choices? So I mean, do I think we live in a simulation? That's tough. I would like to think no, we don't, and we actually have a choice to what we do, and like this is real, and we're experiencing things for real. You know what I mean?
Well, you
Like, give me
can,
like what?
because you can be in a simulation and make your own choices. But
Like a
the
video
the
game?
kind of like a video game, but like there's one theory going around that there's an endless amount of, not necessarily simulations, but there's parallel universes so that every outcome is possible, right? So in this universe, you and me are talking. You have glasses. I have a blue shirt. And I
You're
have glasses. Well, you
frozen.
still
Wait, you
have a
cut
blue
out.
shirt, but
You cut out again.
uh-oh. Okay, so
I have
uh,
glasses. You have a blue shirt. I heard that.
then the next parallel universe, I have glasses and you have a blue shirt, but you have a light blue shirt.
Uh huh.
And then, there's another one where neither of us have glasses and neither of us have blue shirts. So like every single scenario that you can possibly think of is happening at the same time. So it's not necessarily a simulation,
Yeah.
but it could be a simulation where just everything is going on, and you know maybe in this reality you made all the decisions that you made, but in another reality you made totally different decisions and your life is totally different.
So, but though each reality does not interfere with the other reality, right? They're separate.
I mean, who knows? I mean, I would guess they're separate, but who really knows? It's just a theory.
Because if they're separate, then it doesn't even matter what other realities are. All that matters is my reality that I know and what I'm living.
Yeah, but
I
then
mean,
you get people that the same sort of people that like see auras, right?
Yeah.
Like to you and me, like I just see you. I don't see an aura. I don't see an orb. I don't see anything. I just see you. But to those people, they supposedly see, waves of color and they mean something. Other people see apparitions, see ghosts, like just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Now,
Just
if you were
because
to
they see it doesn't mean it's there.
exactly, so you just you don't know. Like you're going off of other people's word, right?
Yeah.
But just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there. So it could be there. In
Yeah.
theory, it could be there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our reality, even though we can't see other realities, there might be some people that can see other dimensions and whatnot,
Yeah.
and can interact with other dimensions. Do I think it's possible? Probably not. Probably not likely. But there's been people that said that like when people die and they see a light, or they go to they have an out of body experience. Like what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So it's just all weird. So my whole thing is, I kind of think that we're in a simulation. I've had an experience where it just like was so weird to me that the only thing that could explain it was we're living in a simulation. So my mind is not closed off to it. I just want to know like what you think, because there's so many things that could happen in a lifespan where a decision that you can make could lead you to where you are now sitting on that chair, or it could have led you to something totally different. Like, say, for instance, the last time you crossed the street, maybe that time you weren't paying attention and you get hit by a car. Just a split second decision like that could change the rest of your life. And to me, it's almost like, and I'm a big fan of, I don't know if you've ever played SimCity.
Oh, I know about it, but
But like I used to play that game all the time, and then they have different levels where you can go up and like you can be way high above the city, zoom in to street level and see all the little Sims like walking around and doing like weird Sim shit. And so like once in a while I'd like zoom in and I'd watch them, and obviously it's programmed. There's a limit to their actions, there's a limit to what they can do. But like it's just so crazy to me to think that every single action was programmed, because there's so many of them. It's
right.
not just like things looping. Every once in a while they do like 5 or 6 actions and then they keep doing the 5 or 6 over and over. It's like it's so varied. There's traffic jams, there's protests, there's like sometimes Sims will like just go off on their own. Like you can like you can follow one Sim going into the park just on his own and like doing his own thing. It's fucking weird to me. So to me, it's just like, well, shit, if that like small program can do that, like imagine if there is a God and he's just programming us to like he might not program us to talk to each other, but he gives us a voice, or hands to communicate with, and then we take it from there. I'm not saying there's a God, but maybe a programmer or whatever. It's just not out of my realm of possibility.
Yeah. I mean, I can see all that. I'm gonna say I don't think we're in a simulation, but I also think anything is possible. I don't I think UFOs are possible. I don't really believe in ghosts, but I think they're possible. I think they could exist. I mean, I work on a fucking ghost show, but I think a lot of it's bullshit.
Really?
But, yeah, I mean, but I don't know. It could be real. Like, it's unexplained. Who knows? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't know. I think anything's possible, but like a simulation, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but I'm gonna hopefully that think that we're living our own lives and making our own decisions, and we have choices and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean that would be the nice romantic way to look at life.
We'll see at the end of the life what really happens.
Yeah, or maybe not. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
All right. So maybe a little bit less deep question. Uh, do you eat meat or are you a vegetarian?
I eat meat. I eat whatever.
Anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know, I try to eat healthy, but I do eat meat.
Like
You know.
what do you consider to be healthy?
Uh, not fast food, not processed food. You know, not fried food.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, I do eat all that shit, but I try to. I try to
Minimize
like.
it.
Yeah, exactly. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, Nikki has been gracious enough to like make my work lunches a lot. You know what I mean? Uh, so she generally feeds me pretty healthy. You know what I mean? Even though sometimes it is processed, like those Trader Joe's like fish patties or whatever. But
Mhm.
you know, but that's along with like sweet potatoes and like vegetables or whatever. So I mean, you know, but then I enjoy a burger every now and then, or you know, we had Mexican, you know, tacos yesterday. Uh, so I mean, you know, everything in moderation, right? But I eat whatever. Yeah.
Cool. I had one of my other drummer friends who actually like he was like 30% meat, 70% vegetables. And it was like weird to even hear that because it doesn't cross my mind at all to
What?
like fix my dish so that it's 30% meat, 70% vegetables,
Oh,
and to do that all the time.
yeah, yeah. That's pretty mathematical. I don't know, but I mean, I guess what you know, what works for him, it's works for him.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a real cool guy. Yeah, he's a therapist, I think. So
Oh, really?
yeah, he's very interesting. But yeah, it's just weird how he said that because it would just never occur to me to do something like that.
Right.
I'm too not disciplined to be
Yeah.
able to pull that off.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I just like to eat like whatever. Just put it on my plate. I'll eat it. I don't care how much of it is or whatever. You know.
Yeah.
What I mean?
Let's see. Do you like coffee or tea?
I I occasionally drink coffee, kind of like on a weekends or whatever. I don't really drink coffee regularly.
Hmm.
Um, maybe more of a weekend thing. I just like it kind of jitters me out and shit. Like
Oh,
sometimes.
okay.
Um, I'm not much of a caffeine person. You know what I mean? Uh, tea, like I don't. I like tea, but I don't even drink enough of that. I don't drink a lot of tea either. I just mainly kind of drink water. I don't know, and I don't even drink enough of that either. Honestly, I should drink more water. Like I'm probably dehydrated. You know what I mean? Like I don't drink soda drinks. I don't. I mean sometimes, but it's rare. I don't really drink sugary drinks.
Hmm.
Um, but I do enjoy coffee sometimes. It's just I don't usually like the way it makes me feel. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And then you know, then it blows up your ass and stuff. uh,
Nice.
yeah, but yeah. So I mean, again, well, I could stand to drink more tea because there's nothing bad about tea. I think you know what I mean. I was drinking green tea for a minute, but that shit made me piss like so crazy. Uh,
Yeah.
so I was just like, I go in at work and I'm pissing every like frequently. I just like it's too much. Um, I like them both, and I guess you know coffee in moderation for me, like extreme moderation, because I only do it like maybe once, twice a week, maybe, if even that. And tea is just like I don't know. I would drink it more, but I don't really think about it. I don't know. You know what I mean? But if I were to choose,
Okay.
I would choose tea.
Tea. All right. What about favorite food?
Um, probably uh, probably Mexican. I like Mexican. Yeah, I mean I like all kinds of food, but I would say like if yeah, I would probably go with that. That would be my number one choice. And then
Is
maybe like what?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think Mexican, and then Japanese, and then like Italian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Is there a restaurant in New York that you miss?
Uh, honestly, well, I'd have to really think about that. But you know what? Like honestly, like I think the food in LA is better than in New York.
Oh my God. Okay. That was my next question. I wanted to ask you because everybody swears by New York food. And New York food is great. I love it. But I agree with you.
Yeah.
LA food to me, I feel is better.
New York pizza, I do miss.
Mm.
New York
Hmm.
pizza, and you know any decent pizza restaurant. That's I do miss that about New York. I don't know if I have a particular one. Um, what was that fucking one called? I don't even remember the name. I think, but that's I do miss that. But yeah, overall, man, I don't know. Like, what are those people talking about? LA. I think LA food is like way. I don't know, man. It's like it's way better. I think there's more. You know, I don't know what it is. Like, it just tastes better. It's more flavorful to me.
Well, obviously the Mexican is way better,
Oh yeah, for sure.
but the Japanese is a hell of a lot better. And I think, in fact, the Japanese food in LA is better than the Japanese food in New York, but on a even larger scale than the Mexican. Because in New York, there's just not really any Mexican places, so it's like whatever. In in New York, the Japanese places are, there's I think there's a lot more Japanese places, but a lot of them are Korean or Chinese or whatever. And same thing with Philly. And they're just like they're not that good.
Yeah.
Whereas any hole in the wall Mexican or Japanese place in LA blow away any 5-star Michelin Zagat rated place in New York.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of Japanese places that I went to in New York that were good, but they don't beat here. And also, I didn't. I'm sure there's a lot more restaurants that I didn't try that are probably decent. You know, they're probably good. So I don't know. You know what I mean? But from what I've tried in New York, and we used to try like different restaurants and stuff, it's just overall like most times it was like, yeah, this experience is all right, but it wasn't like mind blowing. You know what I mean? Here,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, that this is like one Japanese restaurant that we go to in Old Town Pasadena, and it's like fucking mind blowing. It's so good,
Mm.
you know. And I did have that experience at a sushi restaurant in New York, but there was only at one place, and that one place is super expensive, so I only went there once, but it was good. I mean, there are other decent places, but yeah, you just can't. It just doesn't compare. I think,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah. So, what was the initial question? L.A. or New York or what?
If you missed any one
Oh,
restaurant in
pizza.
New York.
I miss pizza.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I think the only thing that New York has over LA is like, and how I like to, because you and I are never going to experience the most expensive restaurants in we're not going to experience the best of the best in New York, just because we're not living that lifestyle. So how I like to judge it is just by your everyday restaurants. So a hole in the wall pizza place in New York is going to be way better than the most expensive pizza. Not way better, but chances are it's going to be better than your expensive pizza in LA. And the opposite can be said, in my opinion, with Mexican and Japanese and Hawaiian food you can't find anywhere in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And there's actually a few that I think you can't find in New York that you can find in LA like pretty regularly. So to me, LA has more variety, and they just have like it's just a more readily available like quality as far as different types of foods. Now, of course, if you go to Queens, you have like all these different like you know Caribbean, um, Eastern European type Chinese and all that.
Yeah.
So they kind of get touted as like this cultural foodie spot, but in reality, like I think there's a lot more to offer in LA, and people just don't really they're not exposed to it.
Yeah. Even Chinese food, I think it's better here than in New York.
Yeah.
But I mean, I grew up with Chinese food pretty much my whole life, but I'm not an expert, so I don't know. You know, it's all subjective, I guess. You know,
Yeah, so there's a point where it's subjective, but
but
to me it's just like I think in you have to kind of like you have to know the spots in New York, whereas in LA you don't necessarily have to know the spots. You just go to a place and it's most likely going to be pretty good.
right, right. I mean, it's subjective, but we win.
Yeah. All right, cool. What about a favorite movie?
Fuck, like ever? Uh, That's a tough one, man. I don't know. Shit. I don't know if I have a favorite movie ever, but I mean, I mean, there are a lot of really good fucking movies. I don't know if I have a favorite. I mean, I love Back to the Future and shit. You know, that's a badass movie. I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood recently. That's really good.
Huh. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Yeah. What else? I wish I had time to prepare for this.
What
It's like
about
one of the.
what about a favorite director? Do you have a favorite director?
I mean, I really like Christopher Nolan.
Okay. Yeah.
Nolan is up there in my book. I mean, Tarantino's awesome too, but I mean, Scorsese. Fuck. I'd say probably Nolan because I like how he messes with time. You know what I mean? I like how he just like I like how he tells a story and he like all his. I mean, Tarantino kind of does that too, but I don't know if that's more of how he thinks about it or if like the editor has kind of like, well, maybe let's like put the less scene here and move it. I feel like Nolan maps all that shit out, like Inception and stuff. Like that was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd say probably Nolan is one of my favorites. Yeah.
Huh. Okay, cool. Um, if you could invite anyone, dead or alive, to dinner, who would it be?
Oh yeah. Anyone dead or alive? Uh, maybe like JFK.
Hmm.
I could find out some real shit that's going on and like maybe find the answer to why he got killed. You know, I don't know. I mean, he
So
probably
you,
know like any presidential person probably knows a lot of shit that we don't know about. And they killed him for a
oh
reason. What is
man,
that
so
reason?
yeah. What do you think?
I don't know. He was probably there's so many theories. Like I don't know. It could be a mob thing. It could be he was trying to or John Lennon would be another person.
Hmm.
Um, they obviously got shot up because they were talking, they were saying things that probably people were like, yeah, wait a minute. And they wanted to shut that shit up. You know what I mean?
So what if it was just Lee Harvey Oswald and he was crazy and he went and shot him? Like, if you found that, if there was like irrefutable proof that that's what happened, like with that, like to me, I just want to know. I don't care what the answer was. If it was just some crazy guy, and to me, like that seems like such a shitty way to die for such an important person. But if that's how it went down, that's all I care about. That's that. I just
Yeah.
want to know.
I mean, if that's were the case, first of all, I don't know if I'd still believe that answer. but but second of all, like,
But like,
okay,
if there was video of him doing it,
right. Well, and video that there was nobody else doing it, only
yeah,
one shooter. Uh, then I guess like, all right, well, I have to accept that, and like, yeah, that's a shitty way to fucking go out. Then that's a punk ass bitch.
yeah,
But I mean, still, any like I said, any presidential person is gonna know some crazy shit. Like I want to know, tell me about Area 51 or fucking, I don't know, whatever. I I'm not like that political and stuff, so it'd probably be more of an entertaining conversation if I were to talk to John Lennon. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Than like Kennedy, because what the fuck do I know about politics?
yeah,
I don't know. But I mean, John Lennon stood for some good, some real things that he was trying to change the world.
yeah. And to do it musically, I mean, I think you have a lot more in common. You can
Yeah.
like relate to him a little
Yeah.
bit better.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Let's see. I think I have one more question.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I like to ask this one because some of the guys they struggle with it, and some like answer like that. What is your biggest pet peeve?
Biggest pet peeve. I have so many. I mean, I don't know if I can say what the biggest pet peeve is. I have a number of them. One pet peeve is like I fucking hate it when people say they're gonna do something and they don't do it. I hate that shit. Fucking follow through. You know, and that's probably a bigger one. Like a pet peeve I have is like, and I would always get on to Nikki about it. Is like, if you're gonna borrow something of mine, put it back where you got it. You know, put things back in their place. But that's not as big of a pet peeve as like saying something that you're gonna do something and then you don't follow through. Because that's like, you know, to me it's like a person's word is like everything. You know what I mean? And so if you can't rely on, if I can't rely on you, then what why am I even talking to you? You know?
Yeah.
So
good are you?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like things that are important pet peeves, like I guess that would be like my biggest one. Like, you know, shit not getting back in the right place, or like stepping on a wet bathroom floor with my bare feet. Like, you know, those are like, you know, weird things, but they're not like, you know, they're not that big of a deal.
I think those are the more interesting things. Like that's another one. Like if I forgot to put the towel down on the floor, I would probably have a fucking conniption.
Yeah, I don't like that feeling of getting out of the shower and having to step on the towel. So it's definitely a pet peeve, but you know, it's not like gonna end it's not gonna like end a friendship or anything with anybody.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, this was awesome. I don't know if you have anything you want to add or any last thoughts.
I don't know. Not really. I mean, this is a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Because, like, you know, like I didn't, like I said to you on text, like I don't really have a lot going on in my life. So I thought I wouldn't have a lot to talk about. And I'm kind of boring. I don't know. But you made it a lot easier. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, I think the questions kind of, the way that I formatted, I guess, this interview was so that it would be more like a conversation.
Yeah.
Less about like the music thing is kind of just like an icebreaker.
Yeah.
And then it gets you just into a normal conversation. This is pretty much what I want, is just to have a normal conversation, get people that watch my videos to get to know you better, and then hopefully just expand where the community just like gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. Well, I hope that I you know, this has met your expectations.
Yeah, it actually exceeded on many different points, man. I thought it was great, especially when we started talking about the deeper stuff, like you know, the meaning of life, and you know, I love getting into all that like conspiracy stuff too, the JFK stuff and whatnot. So
right.
Hopefully, you know, like this whole thing will kind of spawn away from music, and I can kind of just talk about whatever, whenever. And yeah, that'll be like a different show.
Cool. Awesome,
cool,
man. It was fun.
Yeah, this was really cool, man. It was good to catch up. And like I'm looking at the clock right now, it's like over 2 hours. So
yeah, dude, we did pretty good.
Yeah, it didn't feel like 2 hours.
Yeah. Hopefully I can meet Hana too, man. Next time you're out here or whatever.
Yeah, we're gonna be there for Thanksgiving, but obviously that's probably gonna be all soaked up with family.
Yeah.
But hopefully in the near future we'll be there on a more permanent basis.
Cool. Yeah, man. Well, we're here, man. Hit me up. You know what I mean?
Awesome, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
All righty. Well,
keep calling my love.
I will give Nikki my love, and yeah, we'll hopefully we'll see you soon, man.
All right, man. Thanks.
Cool. All right. Take care.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
Since the first time that